Good morning, everybody. Today is another morning motivation, and today I just want to talk about living life with open hands. And what I mean by that is something that has been a staple in my life. I would say for almost the last 10 years has been um, that phrase, living life with open hands. And what I mean by that is being able to receive freely, but also being able to let go freely. Um, I know one of the biggest things that people struggle with is holding on to things, right? Like holding on to people, relationships, stuff. And that's not healthy, like at all. And so one thing I always get like scorned for, or people always kind of get mad at me at, is that I almost never take things seriously. And that's been just because so much of my life I have lost a lot of things. I've lost family, I've lost friends, I lost things that I held to very closely. I've lost just things, a lot of both material, immaterial things. And growing up, I used to hold on to like friendships, relationships, animals, right? Like I was always very possessive about things. And as I got older, I ended up realizing that that really isn't a healthy way to live, in the sense of like you can't find your identity in your stuff, right? You can't find your identity in the things that you have in life. Like, I'm a roaster, right? That's my job, that's my career. But if I were to get fired, that's not going to make or break me, right? Like my identity isn't found in roasting coffee, or I'm a boyfriend, I'm a fiance. But if Alyssa and I were to break up, I can't be too heartbroken over that, because that's not my identity, right? Or my car, or my cameras, or certain things. I've learned to kind of leave those things, or I've learned to live life with an open hand. And the flip side of that is not just being able to let go of things freely, but it's also being able to receive things freely. Like I'm a very prideful guy, for the most part. So I don't really like asking for help. I like doing things on my own. But one thing I've been able to learn is that sometimes we need help. Sometimes we really need people to come alongside us, to really help us become better. And so it's not just, living life with open hands isn't just being able to let go of things freely, as saying, okay, cool, like you're not my possession, you're not my identity, therefore I'm not gonna hold on to it so tightly to where it has this rule over me. It's also being able to receive freely and humble yourself and saying, hey, if somebody wants to help, or if somebody wants to be able to come into your life and be mentored, or whatever it is, you being able to say, cool, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna allow you to help me, or whatever it is. And I think those two things have really been a staple in my life for a while now, mainly because I had to evaluate myself and say, well, what's making me a bad boyfriend, or what's making me a bad employee, or what's making me a bad person. And honestly, one of the things that I've came to find was that I was very possessive of a lot of things. I was possessive about my job titles, I was possessive about my relationships, I was possessive about my stuff. And I began to realize at the end of the day that doesn't really matter. Like I love my girlfriend, I love my job, I love my stuff, but if all that were to be taken away from me, I'm still going to be me, right? Like those things don't define who I am, and I'm not going to give them that power. And so that's one thing that really helps me be a happy person, is kind of like what I said last time, was one, not just realizing that things could be taken away from you, but two is realizing that life is short, and life can be taken away from you. Like people die every day, and I'm going to be one of those people someday that die. And I don't want to live life being held down and defined by things and stuff in titles. And so one thing that I try to do every time I wake up is not just listen to motivational stuff or not just speak to myself, but it's also realizing that if today I die, I know that I've had a good run. I know that I've lived last good 10 years, and I'm happy with that, dude. And so even that also translates to interacting with people every day and saying, I may die today, but as long as I can impact you or impact them or impact someone, I know that today was worth living. And so that's one of the main things that motivates me, is living life with an open hand, or open hands, being able to both not just let go freely and give freely. And also with that, it means helping people, right? Not just saying, oh, cool, I'm going to let go of things freely. As like, oh, if I get fired, cool. If I lose my relationship, cool. If I lose my stuff, cool. Like, I'm not defined by those things. But it's also being able to help people, right? Like, there's so many people who have money, but they're held down by that money. And when a friend is in need, or when a colleague is in need, or a family member is in need, like, they don't want to help them because it's their money, and they don't want, or are you going to pay me back? Or, or you haven't paid me back. And I've helped out so many people financially, and I don't ask for anything in return, because at the end of the day, like, your success is what matters to me, right? Like, if I let you live with me for 6-7 months to help you get on your feet, or if I help you, pay a couple months of rent because you don't have money to do it, because you don't have a job, but I know you're trying, or whatever it is, right? Like, to me, my money isn't my money. Like, I'm a steward of that. And so if I can help someone else achieve their goals, even if it means I'm losing a couple $100, like, I'm totally fine with that. And so, yeah, like, that's one of those things that I think really needs to be taught, like in an ethics class or something, where you need to realize, like, you are not defined by your things, you're not defined by your titles, you're not defined by your job or your relationships. There needs to be something else out there that defines you. And when you find that, when you find that you're not defined by those things, you're free to be yourself. You're free to be who you are. And like I said, I'm rarely a serious person, and it's because at the end of the day, I just try to live my life with an open hands, and saying, you know what, I'm going to be able to let go freely. I'm going to be able to receive freely. So whatever comes my way, I know that it's not hurting who I am as a person. It's not hurting who I am as a human, because I'm defined by greater things than material things. So yeah, like, let that be a little lesson for you guys today. Like, ask yourselves, like, what defines me? What do I hold so close that defines me as a person? Like, if I were to lose this one thing, would it kill me? And why would it kill me, right? Like, why would it break me down? Why would it make me question who I am? And ask yourself that question, and then say, is that healthy? Should I be defined by that title? Should I be defined by those things? And if that one thing were to leave me, why would it hurt so bad, right? So yeah, that's it for today. I'm off to work. I got a lot of things to do this week, and I will post that maybe on Sunday, Monday. We'll see what happens. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later.